Hello. All right, let's go through some more records from my collection. We haven't done this in a little while. Now, I don't think I've talked about any of these yet. I mean, apologies if there are any repeats. I'm fairly confident. See, my brain is having problems because I recorded this video previously and I deleted it for some reason. I don't even remember why. I probably said some incorrect thing and just deleted the whole thing because I didn't want to edit it out. I don't know. I'm making strides on editing. My last video, I don't know if you saw, but it had an edit. There was one edit in there, and that edit, it was real simple edit, and it took me about 90 minutes to fix it. The audio went out of sync and everything, and I didn't clap or anything because I didn't think this would be an issue, and so it's a whole kettle of fish. But you know, I'll do what I have to do. If I have to edit at some point in the future, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But let's start with "Tunnel of Love" by Bruce Springsteen. Um, I am a Bruce Springsteen fan, but I much prefer depressing Bruce to happy, uplifting, anthemic Bruce. Like my favorites are, Nebraska is probably my number one favorite, and The River, Ghost of Tom Joad, Wrecking Ball. I like the sad ones. Darkness on the Edge of Town, that one's a bummer. And this one is a super bummer because this is a divorce record too, and I typically do love divorce records just because of the palpability of the emotion on these. They always come from a really genuine and very very fraught place. So they're usually pretty interesting. Um, yeah, and I think this is a gorgeous record. It's one of his best. I recommend it. All right, now we got a couple of Robert Pollard solo albums. Haven't even opened this one yet, but we've got Honey Locust Honky Tonk and Blazing Gentleman. There's this local record store where I live where this guy, when I come in, he just has like a bin of Guided by Voices and Robert Pollard albums and Pollard side projects and stuff. And he just, pulls it out when I'm there because he knows I'll buy a whole bunch of them. And, it's a cruel trick, but it works every time. And these are, Pollard can be very overwhelming because he has a lot of records, but these both came out in 2013. And I think if you are going to listen to a solo Pollard record, these are both really good options to get started. They're a couple of his most consistent solo albums, and I think they're both a lot of fun. And speaking of Pollard solo albums, we have quite possibly his two best, or certainly up there. I would say that Not in My Air Force is my personal favorite solo Pollard album. And it feels kind of shitty to say that because this was his first solo album. But, what can you do? It's the way I feel. It's not like, he hasn't produced anything of value since then. But this album, he was just firing on all cylinders. Because, this is my favorite Pollard album. This came out in 1996. Also in 1996, Guided by Voices put out Under the Bushes, Under the Stars, which is my favorite Guided by Voices album. So I don't know what was going on with Pollard in 96, why he was doing the absolute best work of his career in that specific moment in time, but he just was. And this is awesome. This is really what you should start with, and then you should just go chronologically from there and listen to all of them. They all got their pros. And this one, especially, this is "Speak Kindly of Your Volunteer Fire Department" by Robert Pollard and Doug Gillard. Now, Doug is the current guitarist for Guided by Voices, and he was actually in the band. He wasn't part of the, original lineup or the classic lineup. He joined, his whole band. He was in a band called Cobra Verde, and when Pollard fired his whole backing band after Under the Bushes, Under the Stars, he hired Cobra Verde to be his backing band. And then after Mag Earwig, he fired all of them too, except for Doug. And Doug was in the band until they broke up for the first time in 2004. And then, the classic reunion lineup got back together and they broke up. And that was, at least partially my fault. Not really, but, well, that's a story for another time. Um, but yeah, now he's back in the band, and the band just, from the perspective of, what's the word I'm looking for here? Versatility, I guess. It's like Pollard, used to have his main project with Guided by Voices, and then he used to have all these side projects because he wanted to explore all of these disparate little avenues, and his backing band could only do so much, But with this band, they're all such great musicians that it feels like he can get all that stuff out of his system and do everything he wants to do. And Doug is a big part of that. He's a fantastic guitarist. And this is just a really strong record with like Frequent Weaver Who Burns and Pop Zeus and Tight Globes. This is just a really good one. So obviously recommend that as well. I think this is currently my only Randy Newman record. And this is a weird one. This one isn't for everybody. Born Again. But I really enjoy this one. I haven't heard all of his records yet. I will soon. But I got introduced to this record because this really cool songwriter named Kieran J. Callanan, he put out this covers album, which I think was called Return to Center. And basically the premise of the record was he went to Guitar Center and he bought a bunch of music equipment. And then they had like a 7-day return policy. You could, return everything within a week. So his idea was to use this equipment to make an entire album and then return all of the equipment. So he recorded it all super fast, and it's a fun record. But he covers the song on here, Pretty Boy, which I thought was just like such a fascinating and strange song. And, it's this, Randy has always been amazing at inhabiting these characters who are kind of off, kind of not the best people, and frequently some of the worst people. And he's even done that, maybe to his own detriment, because he's so invested in getting into these people's headspaces that sometimes. I mean, that's the thing with great satire is that if you do your job right, it's almost completely invisible, and Randy Newman is incredible at that. So it's a cool one. I think Harvest. This copy is a little beat up, but you can't have a vinyl collection and not have Harvest. Obviously, a lot of this stuff has been a little overplayed. It's not the Neil Young album I return to all that often, but it's obviously incredible as a gatefold, and I do love Out on the Weekend, and I do love Words Between the Lines of Age. And yeah, it's a gorgeous record. I've heard Old Man and Heart of Gold like 7,000 times, but they're still incredible songs. What do we got here? We got, Beatles Magical Mystery Tour. This is an incredible record. Like, if a Beatles album can be underrated, I think this one is a little underrated. Just because it's not talked about in the same conversation as, like, Revolver or Sgt. Pepper. And I think it's on that level. I mean, especially the U.S. release where you have all the singles on the B-side. You have Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane and All You Need Is Love and Hello Goodbye and fucking Fool on the Hill. Like, it's an incredible record. And it also has a gatefold. And it also comes with this giant cool booklet which has like all these awesome illustrations in it and stills from the movie, which I haven't watched, and I don't know if I'll ever watch it. But but it's interesting to see. See, they got all these little like caricatures of them and whatnot. It's fun. I'm trying to find this one specific photo that haunts me. Yeah, here it is. It's the spaghetti shovel. I don't know what's happening in this scene, and I'm not sure I want to know, to be honest. Um, yeah, incredible record. And speaking of incredible records, we've got the Evil One by Roky Erickson, and this is one of my all-time favorite albums. Roky Erickson was the lead singer, primary songwriter of the psychedelic '60s rock band 13th Floor Elevators, who were pretty, edgy and shit. They had a jug player that's edgy as fuck. You just blowing on a jug and making that hoedown noise, but it wasn't like a hoedown. It was like trippy and shit. And then he did a lot of drugs at that time, a lot of hallucinogens, and he had, some mental health concerns that were worsened by stuff like that. And, basically he had a really hard time mentally for years and was like in and out of facilities and just couldn't find the right medication, couldn't get, you know, was getting in legal trouble too at times for like stealing his neighbor's mail and stuff. It was a whole thing. So the reason I mentioned that is that he didn't produce as much work as he should have. And it's a shame because every time he was able to be in a place where he could complete and put out an album, it was wonderful. And this is his best one. This is, and it has a gatefold. I'm going to show you all the gatefolds, whether you want to see them or not. And this is a great record for, spooky season's coming up here. And this is the best Halloween record ever made. I mean, pretty much every track on here is about a monster. You have Two-Headed Dog, which is about a two-headed dog that works at the Kremlin. You have I Think of Demons. You have I Walked with a Zombie, where the only lyric in the song is I walked with a zombie last night, and it's gorgeous. You have Don't Shake Me, Lucifer. You have Night of the Vampire. You have The Creature with the Atom Brain, which is maybe my personal favorite, where he incorporates, he like recreates, samples from the movie. Yeah. You have Stand for the Fire Demon. You have If You Have Ghosts, Bloody Hammer. I mean, it's a really intense record, and it's a really fun record, despite all the stuff he was going through. It's fun. I mean, it's like fun, upbeat rock music, but you just have to come to terms with the fact that when he's singing about this stuff, he's not being all like goofy and fun and stuff. Like this is very deeply felt. So it's a strange and wonderful album, and I couldn't recommend it enough. Nor his other albums like All May Do My Rhyme and the album he made with Ockerville River, his final studio album, True Love Cast Out All Evil, I think is incredible too. He's a wonderful songwriter, and I wish he'd been able to do more. And there's a great movie about him called You're Gonna Miss Me, which is very much worth a watch if you're interested. I don't have a lot of best ofs, but I picked up this best of Roy Orbison really cheap. Like I don't know shit about Roy Orbison. I just know that like Only the Lonely, Crying, Running Scared, and Dreams. Those are all great songs, and they're all on here. But at some point, I will delve deeper into his discography and actually figure out what albums I like and are the best ones for me to own. I got no idea currently. Someday. What do we got? We got Time Fades Away. This is an album that Neil Young he recorded it live, but it was all new songs. And I think this was out of print for a long time. This is a '70s copy of it that I got for a really good price. Yeah, and this is just this is just a wonderful album. I mean, if you like Tonight's the Night and On the Beach and like that era of Neil's music, this absolutely stands up to the rest of that in terms of quality and emotion. It's great. Don't Be Denied. I love Don't Be Denied. That's my personal favorite. Big fan. All right. We got this super beat up copy of the Graduate soundtrack. You know, Simon and Garfunkel. It's great. We also got the Dueling Banjos, which this isn't a single. It has this is the full soundtrack of Deliverance, which is not an easy movie to watch, and it's not trying to be, but I mean, you gotta have Dueling Banjos. It's great. It's Dueling Banjos. Um, Paul Simon in concert, live Ryman. So this obviously came out after Here Comes Ryman Simon, and it has a good mix of. It's got some of the classic Simon and Garfunkel songs like "The Boxer" and "Homeward Bound" and "America," which is one of my absolute favorites, mixed with some of the great early Paul Simon stuff like "Duncan" and the Mother and Child Reunion. Me and Julio down by the schoolyard. It's a good set list, and I got it for dirt cheap. And I really got to get more Paul Simon vinyl. I might have one or two other records, but I need more. All right, and the last one we're gonna do today is this big honkin' OK Computer box set. This is the OK Not OK box set. Um, and on the back you can see it has the album. It has all of the B sides from the singles and whatnot, which were very high quality. And it's got, best of all, it's got The Promise, Man of War, and Lift, which were songs that hadn't been previously released and were like remasters and shit. And especially I Promise is incredible. But all three songs are great. And then, inside here, I mean, the packaging is just awesome. You know, it's great. It's beautiful. Look, there's more. There's more of it. And, even like the sleeves have beautiful art. Man, more, more art. And we got three. It's a 3 vinyl set. There you go. Yeah, super cool. I mean, it's one of my favorite records of all time. So I kind of had to pick this set up. I don't remember how much it cost. It was probably stupid, but I'm I'm glad I own it. I love it. So that's about it. That's the arbitrary number of vinyl records I have selected for this particular video, and we're gonna have more soon. See you in a bit.